there's a lot of doom and gloom around the club at the moment. Normally at the start of the transfer window, I feel there's a feel-good factor. And maybe because we're usually crap, and the start of the season or the end of it sort of signifies hope. There's a hope and there's an expectation, a little spring in your step. It's been a long, tiring, drawn-out season, and you can look forward to the next one in the hope that you might unearth a hidden gem, that you sign somebody and they'll metamorphosise you and you'll become a sort of, whatever, a top-end club. Which is what we became. I do wonder if because we've had that, we're now on a little bit of a downer. We've had the high and now there's a little bit of low. And there's a lot of negative stories coming out. It's definitely more of a feel-bad factor, wouldn't you say? And actually, before I start to talk about those, let me just talk about Perkins, which is one of those stories. It came out yesterday. I've got to apologise. That's meant to be today's video. But sometimes I stack them, so I record them late the night before, and they're meant to be published in the morning. Well, that one, there's this button which is like, it's next to the published thing. It says schedule, and obviously I did the wrong one, so I published a video at 10:15 last night. So apologies. What I find out though was apparently ex-West Ham United employee has tweeted or something that Perkins has only 1 month left on his contract. Obviously, I was not aware of this when I recorded the video. If so, I do think that changes things massively because we don't have any. We've got no leeway. We've got no bargaining power, really, in any negotiations with Perkins, as I understand it. Now, I don't know if this is true, by the way. I've actually contacted the club today. I've emailed the top two people at the club directly today just to ask for clarification, and I've not heard anything back as yet. That being said, it was only an hour before recording this video. I'm sure they'll reply. What do you think? So I basically asked the question. This is true. Does Perkins only have a month remaining on his contract? If that is the case, then I can't blame him. I've got to say I can't blame him, because if the story is that Leeds basically wants more money and he wants first team football, well, by not paying him as much as Leeds, we're not valuing him as much as Leeds, and by David Moyes not playing him and Leeds saying they will, then in terms of the playing, both monetarily and from a footballing point of view, he's better off at Leeds, isn't he? I said this yesterday. I do have a young son. He's probably not likely to play for West Ham. Although he did finish top goal scorer at his club this season. That's to be said, from the right wing, I hasten to add. He tells me he was top goal scorer. He possibly is. He did score a lot of goals. Anyway, but if for some reason he improved dramatically, and actually that's harsh. He's very good. He's very good. But if he got to a situation where he might sign for West Ham, take the West Ham hat off and take away the fact that West Ham is my team and his team, I don't think it's a good place for a youngster to go. I do think somebody who's, featuring in the England youth development squads is probably better off at Leeds. You're just more likely to get a chance at Leeds. You're more valued there. The Leeds manager will value you more than David Moyes will value you. And certainly if they're going to pay more, then you'd say that certainly the Leeds owners are going to value you more than the West Ham owners would. How's that reply coming on, I wonder? Anyway, so I don't particularly blame him for that. But it's a bad news story. Do you get what I'm saying? It is bad news. It makes you feel a little bit miserable. Why has it got to this? You're miserable because why didn't Moyes? Why? It reminds you Moyes didn't play enough youngsters. Why doesn't he? So that makes you... Well, makes you... I'm telling you how you feel. I'm telling you how I feel. It makes me a little bit annoyed about it. And then it makes me annoyed... Why have we allowed a situation to get to a point where a player has 1 month left on his contract? I'm annoyed with the ownership. I'm annoyed with the management, Anyway, it's a crap old story. We need a really feel-good story. Then you've got the Soucek thing. Right, the Soucek thing is just, oh my word. So yesterday there was basically Soucek's agents are speaking with 3 clubs. It is public knowledge that he is out and he's available there. Tottenham are interested. It might be 40 million. It's a bad news story. The reason it's a bad news story, aside from the fact we're losing a player, is Because when he came in, he did really, really well for that half a season. He kept us up, by the way. Him and Bowen were two pivotal signings that helped keep us up. Noble was in really good form before that, to be fair. And also, during the run-in, we used Noble a lot during that run-in, in different positions, if you remember. And Ogbonna really came to the fore. There were lots of reasons, but Soucek was pivotal amongst them. I think it's fair to say. Then he had a really good season before last, scored loads of goals, double figures in goals. Helped get us into Europe, fantastic. So it's a bit of a downer as a subject. He's been a really good player for West Ham, and now it turns out that actually David Moyes don't fancy him much. He was crap last season, let's be fair, by his own high standards, and he might be going somewhere else. It's that nobody wants to feel that you're going to lose a player to Tottenham. Apparently, the story is we won't do business with Tottenham anyway. But that's it. It's a negative story. It's a crap old story. I feel a bit weird now advertising the OneFootball app, which is downloadable by clicking the link below or using the QR code. So if you want more crap West Ham stories that are going to make you feel miserable, look no further than the OneFootball app. Just download it. You can find out who we're selling, who we're losing, why we're terrible, and all the other stuff that you need to know. The app is free. I jest, of course. It's sort of half jest, really. There will be some good... I'm going to get to that bit in a minute. There will be some good news stories coming along at some point. This is why we need to sign someone. When we do sign someone, you can find out about it first on the OneFootball app. There you go. So I just think it's a sad story in many respects. Not sad, but a disappointing story. Then you've got the Declan Rice story running alongside it. Declan Rice, we've offered him 200 grand a week or whatever. He's turned it down. He's turned down the two other contract offers before that. He won't sign a new contract, but he's going to stay for next season. Then he's off. It's hard to blame him. I don't blame him. Don't get me wrong. But just because I don't blame him doesn't suddenly make me happy. Don't think. Actually, you know what I mean? In the same with Perkins, it doesn't make me happy about it. I'm pleased that we're losing Declan Rice. Excuse me, my battery ran out then. That happens very, very rarely. So yes, the Declan Rice, I would understand why he would go. But again, it's just a negative story, isn't it? And when you add it up to everything else, that's just dealing with player recruitment. When you then look back at the fact that, it's taken us a long time to sign a striker, and then you've got all these little mini stories going around, which aren't maybe as factual as Declan Rice, not signing a new deal. Thomas Soucek, is going to be off. Perkins, because they will either happen or they won't. But they're more easy to decipher. As stories are more easy to cut your way through. But then you've got all the other negative stuff like we're not signing anyone. David Moyes decided just to go with Antonio again next season, and all this other stuff. It piles in there. It makes for a miserable old West Ham time, and I'm not sure it's that bad. By the way, and I do say that with hope as much as anything, because I don't actually believe that David Moyes is going to oversee the destruction of a team and of a squad when he's made so much progress. I just don't. You struggle to convince me that was in his nature. I think he wants to improve. I think he wants to get better. The Stuart Pearce thing, that's another negative as well. We're not really spoken about it on this channel, have we? But so I do think I'm not resigned to Soucek leaving. I think it's likely, but it's not beyond the will of man that he can get back round the negotiating table. David Moyes can find a place for him, not just in the team, but get him in his most favoured position again. And Soucek signs a new contract. And maybe that's not 125 grand a week, but is an improvement on what he's on. Maybe there's a compromise there. I don't think there's any change in the Declan Rice stuff. I've got to be honest with you, because West Ham just in the next 12 months are not going to become a Champions League team. We're just not. So I think he's off. The Perkins one, I think, is retrievable. I really do. It's really easy. There's two things that got to happen here. Number one, the boards, just give him what Leeds are offering. I mean, how hard can that be? It can't be that hard, can it? Just give him what Leeds are offering. Moisey, we're in the what's it called? The Conference League for next season. We're in the Conference League. Just say to the lad, mate, I'll give you a couple of games in that Conference League. I'll stick you on the bench. We've got 5 subs this season. I'll start using you. If we get in good leads in games, I'll start using you. If you prove yourself, start scoring goals, you'll get into it. So basically, there's some compromise there. Make a compromise. with some of these players, and then just all of a sudden the place gets a little lift. You make a signing, you make another signing, and things start to look a little bit better. If there's one criticism I've got of David Moyes, actually, it's him not understanding about that feel-good factor. I said it during the season. He was talking about keeping Declan Rice, but I don't think David Moyes understands. I'm not sure how much he understands human nature. I know he knows a lot about football and setting up a team and all the stuff, right? But human nature, I'm not quite so sure. I don't think he understood quite how quite demoralising it must have been for Declan not to see any players coming in. David Moyes said to the board, sanction 200 grand a week, give him 200 grand a week, like that was going to do it. But it wasn't just about money. You and I all know that Declan is not about just having the money. Actually, I talk about this thing, I think we'll continually talk about it all pre-season. It's messaging. But I don't think he quite understands how depressing it was for someone like Declan, who probably would love to see West Ham do a Man City or do a Chelsea or what Newcastle may go on to be now. Probably would love to see that. But for him to look around and think, to get to January, for us to be in and around with a chance of fourth and then to let it go, it's that. I do think that David Moyes doesn't understand about, giving people a lift. And I think that's really important. I think maybe in terms of his man management sometimes, we look at sometimes how he might have managed Ben Rama or this, that. Various different things. I'm not entirely sure he's great at that sort of, not man management, but being insightful enough to know that actually the vibe around a club can do an awful lot. And at the moment, I feel it's very negative. It's very negative. I'm desperate to report a good story. I was on the phone to Gio earlier, and I said, mate, I really wish we'd signed somebody, so as we could do something a little bit more positive. I've not forgotten about my series. I'm going to continue doing my series about each individual player, and some of them are going to be positive, because we've got some players that we want to keep and that have done well. But I'm not seeing a lot of appetite at the moment for that sort of stuff. I think we need some bigger and better news at the moment, and some good news, because it's just it's so morbid at the moment, really, isn't it? And actually, we've got a good season to look forward to. We really do. But I think we need a little bit of a push, a little bit of the toboggan. Is it a toboggan? What's the thing with the I can't even think. The thing like the Cool Runnings thing. What is it called? Oh, so you're all screaming. All the geezers, they sit in the the ladies, of course. They all sit in the thing and they go down the ice chute. Oh, terrible. This is why you tune into this channel. Whatever, they have a little push at the start. That's what I'm saying. We just need a little bit of a push, a little kick up the bum to get us going. Anyway, I'm going to go and kick myself up the bum and try and remind myself what it is a toboggan. It's not a toboggan, is it? It's not a luge. The luge one where they sit on a tray. Oh, God. What is it? What is it? I'm going to go and find out.